G'day and welcome to G'day Crochet. I'm Trish and today I'm going to be talking to you about what I've made this period, I'm going to say. So it's been longer than a week. Sorry if I sound funny. I've got a case of Rona. Yeah, so I'm going to start off with a little package that I've already opened because I was just too excited, and then I got Rona pretty much that day. I kind of found out that I had Rona. I'd just been sleeping, so I was too crook to film. So thank you, Sammy from Yarn Over Hook, for my Valari extension band. I love it. So we're going to start off by putting on my Valari. I apologise if I start coughing. I will edit that out. There we go. It's a lot better than the little creation I made up. So we're going to start off with Sammy. So for all us Aussies here, I'm excited. I felt famous because I had something sent to me from Hollywood. So, and not Salisbury, Hollywood. Like actual Hollywood. So thank you, Sammy. I actually felt just a little bit famous. So it came like this inside an envelope, and she left me a little note, and it says, "Thank you so much for being such a wonderful part of our community. From Sammy." Also sending my Valari band. So thank you, Sammy. Much appreciated. And Sammy does Square Up Saturday from Yarn Over Hook. So making sure I get it right. So I've got my first little sticker. So I don't know what I'm going to use that for, but it is definitely a little crochet community. So, and I got to enter a live like Square Up Saturday. So Square Up Saturday is where Sammy crochets granny squares from this box. And she does a poll. She involves us in every part of it. So we get to decide, like we click on the poll on whether what box she's going to pick from. I think she's got 2, maybe 3 now. So, and when she did this one, I was like, I'm entering because this, I love these colours. So, and she's done a fantastic job. So, yeah, so thank you, Sammy. I'm going to be hanging this up. I might even put it on my Christmas tree this year because I just love it so much. So, thank you, Sammy. And I will see you on Sunday. I will watch your Square Up Saturday. So, yeah, I was just so happy when my name came up and I got to pick and my square was still there, and because we had to pick a couple of squares just in case ours went. And so my third choice went, I was like, oh no, what if I don't get picked? And then my name came up, and so I still had my choice too, and obviously my first choice I got. So thank you, Sammy. So now into what I have been making. So I'm going to start it off with Tracy's Big Booty Frog. So I still can't seem to pull it tight enough to get a proper booty, but I did it good. So I tried embroidering a mouth, but I don't know, it just kept. My embroidery wasn't the best for the mouth, I just didn't like it. So Bob is mouthless, so he doesn't have an opinion, so he just has to shh and like it. So this is a free Instagram pattern, and she also has a pattern on her website, which I will link in the description box if you want to go check her out. Yeah, I used the Burnett blanket patchwork that I got from Spotlight. I just wanted to try actual real Burnett blanket, which confirms another pattern that I used Millends for. I was like, oh, that's definitely like a Burnett blanket. It feels the same. And so another American yarn. So yeah, it's quick, easy, and I loved it. So thank you, Tracy, for the pattern for that. Then I got an order for a motorbike. So I've got a little post on like Marketplace on Facebook where I just sell plushies from when I used to do markets with my mum. And a lady reached out and asked if I had any motorbikes and if I could make one. And so I said I didn't have any motorbikes, but I can try. And so my brain was like, challenge accepted. So I went on Etsy, found a few, screenshotted them, sent them to her without the pricing, just so she could pick the actual motorbike she wanted and didn't have to worry about price. And so this is what I've come up with. So, and this pattern is by Crafty Crochet Castle. So she's on Instagram, Etsy, Facebook, Pinterest, and she's here on YouTube. I sussed her out on YouTube, and she's also got a school bus. So I'm like, done, accepted. So I'm going to do that, and she's also got the nativity scene in what they call worsted weight yarn, but I'm going to do it in plush yarn. So I'm just been looking on Spotlight website for some more like Jolly Joy kind of yarn, like velour they call it, but just like, yeah, thinner yarn. So awesome pattern. I want to make more. I want to make a red one. I want to make like maybe a Christmas one, or I reckon that'll look nice with like leather. So it sort of looks like a leather seat. So yeah, pink one would be nice, but I don't know if I could get that in like velour yarn or anything. So I've got to go on to Spotlight website and see what I can find. But this one requires a lot of sewing. So if you don't like sewing, this probably isn't the pattern for you, because each wheel is 2 parts and you sew them together. So you do your magic ring, do the wheel, and then you do what I call the mud guard, and then you line them up and you stitch them together. So I just kind of cheated. I left a long enough tail for the black, and I slip stitched there, and I slip stitched the mud guard. When I originally made it, the seat was a lot higher up, and I was trying to figure out, like, why is my seat so far up? But once you attach the muffler and you sort of pull the wheel towards the fuel tank a bit more, well, then the seat kind of levels out a bit. So another little adaptation that I made was she did a plain silver or grey bar, whereas I thought I'd break up the actual handle grips. Also, for the fork, the chain, like, that's just a chain stitch there, and it just looked a bit thin. So I decided I was going to slip stitch back up the chain, and then I just weaved one tail through and sewed them, tied them together, and yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of sewing, but it was a labour of love. So there wasn't a part where I was like, oh, I can't do this. My brain thought it when I seen how much sewing I had to do. I was like, my goodness, I have not done so much sewing in my life. So, but no, I loved it. It was amazing. Then, oh, he's still up there. I didn't grab him. Sorry. Then we discovered Animal Crossing on the Nintendo Switch has a 3.0 update coming, and me and my son, we like Animal Crossing, along with a lot of other games for my son. He likes Hollow Knight and a few other games. But he liked Octavian, and so he's asked for a little Octavian, and Genie Mum is, your wish is my command. And I made him an Octavian, so he chose the top for him. So it's the Jolly Joy yarn, and same as there and there, it's all Jolly Joy, except for here it's the Lion brand Frizzle. So Lion brand Frizzle, and I used the 4mm hook, so he's nice and stuffed. He's got the googly eyes, and it's just free-handed. So then, where was I? So I showed you Octavian. So this one here, I am super proud of myself for. So this here is the Hollow Knight from the game Hollow Knight. So my son showed me a picture of what he wanted, and I'll put the picture up here of what he's meant to look like. But I am quite chuffed on how this turned out. I do apologise if you can hear my son. He is gaming, I think, and getting a bit loud. Yeah, so No pattern, once again, free-handed. And thank you, Tracy, like saying I'm a natural pattern designer when I showed her this. I didn't think so at the time, but then I sort of sat back and I was like, my brain did that. My brain actually came out with something there's not a pattern for. So I am considering trying to write this one up. And if you write patterns, I'd love for you to leave a comment on how you price them, because this one here, I don't want to do as a free pattern, but I don't want to charge like $10 either, like for a pattern. I wouldn't pay $10 for a pattern. So yeah, I'm just curious how pricing, because if you do how long it takes, well, this guy here took me probably a week, maybe a little bit less. So I did have to stop because of Rona. Yeah, like his cape comes off, that's all. I do apologise if you can hear my son. So his cape does come off. So I wouldn't mind trying to figure out how to make it more symmetrical so it doesn't jump so much, maybe. But this is like the 10th attempt at doing the cape, and that's about as good as I could get. So it's just a triangle, but then, yeah. So I'm not sure if I should have started at the bottom and worked up, or how I should have done it, but I just started with a chain and then single crocheted random rows. I think it was like 4 or 5 rows, and then started decreasing for a few rows, and yeah. So I have sort of thought about writing some of my little brain inventions up into a pattern. So, and just seeing if I can get it from my brain onto pen and paper and go from there, because it would be handy for me to make another one, and like some of his fingers are thinner and shorter, and because I sort of lose count, I'm just freehanding and going off looks, I'm not really counting. So, and I think one leg's longer than the other, but yeah, so that's the Hollow Knight. He's got one of these rollers that goes like in his body so his head can be bendable. So the most hardest part I actually struggled with was the head and the cape, really. So I sort of looked at the hands and I was like, do I start from the shoulders down, or do I start from like crochet all the fingers and sew them on? And so what I decided was I started from the palm and put the fingers on, like surface crocheted them on, and then they were crocheted in here in the round. So the only real sewing that I had to do was sewing the head onto the body. So everything else was crocheted in the round. And this cape just ties on. So yeah, that's the Hollow Knight. I might see if I can try and freehand some of the other characters and maybe write a pattern. I'll see what my son wants, if he wants more characters. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So, and last but not least is this little guy. So this little guy is a pattern by Crochet by Chelsea. It's a free pattern on Instagram. It didn't take long at all. And the only sewing is you sew the tail to where you fastened off and you sew the muzzle on. So she did have your embroiderer nose, but I've still got some safety noses, and so I just use that. The yarn I used was the Millens, like this goldy colour and the white, which feeling, this is where I was getting at, feeling this yarn, it feels exactly the same. So it feels like a burnette, not patchwork, obviously, but maybe a mystical or something like that. But it definitely is the same thickness, the same flatness. So I reckon it's definitely a burnette blanket. The green, I've just used Motivera in Spearmint, and I embroidered some polka dots on him, or her. I'm going to call it a her. I know it's a him because he's got the mane like a lion. Yeah. So that's for Traveller's Wheels. So the carry on from Crochet Roulette. So Crochet Roulette has officially finished. And now we're on to Traveller's Wheels. So this is week 1 of Traveller's Wheels. So there's that. Now, for a few announcements. I have, at the time of recording this, officially hit 40 subscribers. So thank you for everyone who is subscribed, comes back and watches my videos every time I post. And if you're new here, I just want to say thanks for watching. And if you liked this video, feel free to check out some of my other videos. I've got tips and tricks. I've got the beginning of my crochet journey, and I show my first project, so it definitely didn't look like this guy. Also, I have found a show that I enjoy watching while I am crocheting, and it is called The Game of Wool. And it's like an elimination one. So if I just hang on, Mum, I'll call you back. She made me lose track of where I was up to. Yeah. I just wish the judges were a bit more fair kind of thing. They don't really go on a point system. Like, I'm not a knitter, but one guy got eliminated because of his armholes, but someone else didn't have their armholes. And yeah, I just wish they had a bit more of a point system on it. But it was still interesting to watch. Like, I still was learning different techniques for knitting and things like that. And it did say that they do crochet in it as well. So I've only seen the one episode, but I'm definitely going to be watching all 8 because I want to see who wins. Yeah. So it's a British show. So on their Channel 4. So if you're in the UK, check that out, or just search Game of Wool on YouTube full episodes and it comes up. So different people do it. You just pick the one you want to watch. And I'm going to have to let you go because my son's getting a bit rowdy. And yeah. So until next time, keep crocheting. Share this with a mate if you think they will like it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.